All right, another key feature of graphs is their end behavior. And today that's what you're going to look at. You're going to look at a graph and determine what its behavior is at the end. A few things that you have to remember. Well, two things that you have to remember. The degree. You have to remember what the degree of a polynomial is. It's the highest exponent. And the leading coefficient. It's the coefficient with the highest degree. With the, whatever. Okay, so end behavior is you determine what happens to the graph to y as the x value goes from positive to negative infinity. So a few things you have to understand is, what do I mean by positive and negative infinity? Well, x is positive infinity is going this way. So as x gets really, really big over here, what's happening to the graph? Is it going up or is it going down? Okay? So negative infinity, as x goes to negative infinity, that's the end behavior, that's the other end. So it's as x going this way, is the graph going up or down? So that's what's being asked. So when you're doing something like this, when you're looking at a graph, you're saying, okay, as x gets big, so as x goes to infinity, like this graph, what's happening to y? What's happening to f of x? Well, f of x is going up. As x is going this way, y is going that way. So f of x is going to infinity. So the other question, two things you always ask yourself when you're doing end behavior. The first, what happens as x goes to infinity? And the other is, what happens when x goes to negative infinity? So what happens when we go this way? So when we're going this way, is the graph going up or down? Well, this should be obvious. The graph is going down, so the graph is going towards negative infinity. That's it. That's how you do it. So this is the basic breakdown. There's 4 possibilities. Okay, these are them. Okay, we're going to do it with, look them over, but the basic idea, we're going to go through it a few times. As x goes to infinity, what happens? And x goes to negative infinity, what happens? That is how we do this. So looking at this, well, it's doing crazy stuff in here. I don't care about that stuff now. Now I'm looking at end behavior. As x is going to infinity, is the graph going up or down? So as x goes to infinity, is the graph increasing or is it decreasing? Well, it's going up, so it's increasing. That's it. So as x goes this way, towards negative infinity, is the graph going up or down? Well, the graph is going up, so the graph is going towards infinity. All right, so that's looking at a graph. It's pretty straightforward, but what if you're given an equation? You have to ask yourself 2 questions. What is the degree of the polynomial? Okay, so is it, what's the highest exponent on the polynomial? And what is the sign of the leading coefficient? So those are the 2 questions. All right, so when we ask ourselves what is the degree, looking at this first one here, the degree is 4. That's the degree right there. Now, we don't really care that it's 4. We care whether it's even or odd. So in this case, it's even, okay, because it's 4. And the leading coefficient right here is a positive 1. So what I care about is the sign of the leading coefficient, so it's positive. So when we have a positive polynomial with an even degree, this is the way, the characteristics, the end behavior is always the same. So as x goes to infinity, the graph goes up. And as x goes to negative infinity, this way, the graph also goes up. So that's the first possibility, okay? Even with a positive leading coefficient. Well, what happens if it's even with a negative? Well, it's just like a parabola. Remember, parabola is positive. It's a u. Negative, it's down. Same idea. This guy is even. Again, it's a 4. But the exponent, the coefficient is negative. It's negative 2 here. This is the term we care about. The degree there is 4, and it's negative. So when that happens, the graph looks like this. Not exactly like this, but the end behavior is exactly the same, and that's what we care about. So as x goes to the right, or goes to infinity, they both go down. Okay? So this one's like, you scoring a touchdown or a field goal, and this one's, you're not. And they both go down. Okay? So this one here, then we have odd. Okay, this is different than even or odd functions, which we'll learn about in a day or so. But what matters is the leading term is odd. It's 5. Okay, so that's odd. And looking here, it's positive. So when that happens, the graph kind of just always goes up. So it goes from low to high. So as x goes to infinity, but you look at it a little differently when you're doing end behavior. You're looking at it in two directions. So as x goes to infinity, f of x, or the graph, is going up. And as x goes to negative infinity, remember this way, the graph goes down. So you kind of look at it a little different when you're talking about end behavior. We're not just looking at it in one direction. Oh, there we go. All right, and then finally we have an odd. This is odd because it's 5, and the leading coefficient is a negative, is -2. Okay, remember, this is the term we're looking at. It's -2 here, so the sign is negative. All right, so look, this is a graph. The end behavior of all these graphs with those characteristics are going to be the same. So as we go to infinity, we go down. And as we go to negative infinity, it's going up. And that's it. So that's the general characteristics of these graphs. If you are, so just to sum this up quite quickly, two things you look for is your leading coefficient, LC we call it, your leading coefficient, and your degree. Okay, so if the leading coefficient is negative, or is positive here, and it's even, then the graph is, the end behavior is like that. Other stuff may happen on the inside, but that's that. If it's negative and still an even degree, the end behavior is both down. If it's positive with an odd degree, we're going up. Okay, it doesn't matter again what happens on the inside, but that's what it looks like. And negative odd is kind of going down. Okay, even though the arrows are going that way. All right, have a good one.